And there we go. We are in with the last quarterfinals of Age of Empires 2, the Conquerors Clan League Season 41 between Black Forest and Gaucho B. And let's turn off the fog of war so that I can actually see you, or rather show you what the first map is gonna be like. It's called Great Lakes and it's from basically ultra random upset. You can see it's basically signified by having a large pond in the middle like Mediterranean, Baltic or something like that. But otherwise there are two branches on both sides, basically dividing the teams, and both of them are having shallows on them. So potentially you can use them to basically somehow infiltrate your opponent, even if you lose the water. But of course it's gonna be always kind of hard. But overall, the map is kind of a combination between, well, let's say Baltic or Mediterranean, something like that, and basically Salt Marsh. And those two maps are basically most similar to what we are right now looking at. So the civilizations, what are we gonna be looking at from both? Apparently mirror. It's gonna be Huns, Vikings, and Mongols. Interesting. I was kind of expecting that maybe you could be seeing some kind of double of something, like maybe double Vikings and then something else, like, I don't know, some... well, Spanish probably not, rather Huns, they are kind of versatile. And you can imagine that, for example, some kind of strategy like having the Vikings win the water and then switch them into maybe even double sling into Hun could be definitely working. But yeah, that is not gonna be really happening in here. We could be probably expecting one of the Vikings, or rather the Vikings from both teams, actually be interested in slinging a bit later if the water is done. But yeah, well, from what I have seen in the previous quarterfinals, it's gonna be all about really the water. And who is gonna be winning it is gonna be having also pretty good chance of landing the opponents, but still I wouldn't underestimate some kind of possibilities of maybe early attack. This is exactly what the shallows are kind of meant for, I'm thinking. If basically avoiding the early fighting on the water and just basically go full on land, maybe surprise the opponent, he forgets to wall, something like that, and you can basically trash him or whatever, and it might be really making his game very difficult from there on forward and not even able to fight on the water all that much. Well, we're of course gonna be looking, for example, right now at Pingui on the right, and as far as the kind of level of the players, they are actually kind of equal. Black Forest are kind of slight favorites, especially since we do know their history from the past seasons and whatever. Where rather Gauchos B, this is gonna be their first appearance in the playoffs. Yeah, that should be their first appearance. Whereas Black Forest, they are advancing fairly regularly, lately. And of course, they're gonna be quite aiming for the German battle against New Chapter in the semifinals, and maybe it could be a bit of a surprise if they didn't get there. But at the same time, it has to be said that actually Gaucho B, they are responsible for basically the biggest surprise so far, right in the first round, in round of 16, where they have beaten the New Hell Hunters. These were definitely favorites because they were basically the third seed, whereas Gaucho B, they were seed 15. So you can kind of guess that you might be expecting quite nice gameplay by them, and especially quite nice team effort. That is something that you'll be expecting. A bit of green flaring, which is probably saying that... what? Let's actually check what he might be flaring. Okay, basically just what he sees, that maybe there could be some kind of resources or whatever, that it could be useful to actually scout there, but otherwise not entirely certain. And of course the water in the middle is gonna be quite important for everybody, as they are gonna be intent on making use of all the fishies. You can see there are plenty of them, and there are actually quite plenty of them even on the branches on the left and to the top. It's not really deep fish, of course, it's gonna be just a lot of shore fish, but the number is not really half bad. So potentially if you're gonna be placing dogs here, you still could be having some kind of fishing economy, at least for the early game. And that was a strategy that basically Bullet played in Run Forest Run versus Ark. It in the end didn't really work out all that well. He was kind of owned in there by Maxi, I think. I don't really want to lie here, not entirely remembering that correctly, but he didn't have a nice game, and it was overly very nicely executed by Argentinians because, well, let's say that they are very skilled on water maps. So it could be probably sad for actually Gaucho B, because their very favorite home map are Team Islands. So we could be expecting really solid play. This is actually not really that different from Team Islands, so maybe it could be seen really something similar from them. But it has to be said that Black Forest are not really anywhere behind, as their favorite home map is Migrations. So yeah, I can kind of guess that the water gameplay should be really on top by both of these clans. Otherwise, for some kind of concrete ratings, BFs are all about 1850. Two of them are 50 plus, one of them is 50 minus. Right now, I just can't remember which one, and I'm not even gonna be checking. I just know that they are really solid 1850 plus. and they definitely play a whole lot better in team. You could be basically saying they are 1900 in team games. Not really any kind of lie in that. And for the opponents, Gaucho's Bees, they are about 1800 plus, all of them as well. Just Pingu is, I think, about 70-70, but overall their team play and whatever is really pretty good, as we are looking at a bit of a pushing of the deer by Mate. So we are already heading into feudal ages. So one of them is actually a bit later. You can see that's gonna be red player Mate as the Han in the pocket. He's apparently gonna be coming with 25 villages. Right now with 25, otherwise everybody 2019 and 21. So that is that actually gonna be some kind of fast castle? I'm kinda thinking that for fast castle you go a bit more, like about 27 and maybe even plus, if basically the situation does demand it. But he's already ready with 2 dogs, and I'm kinda thinking that he's gonna be joining just a bit later, but with better economy, and hoping that his allies are gonna be basically making up for that kind of deficit. So 2 dogs, well, kinda late right now for Elkwark to be coming up with the second dog, because he has just advanced, so you can see already he's gonna be having issues with the numbers I'm thinking against Exodo on the left flank. So that should be advantage for Gaucho B. Whereas at the top side we are looking at 2 dogs by the Viking Philip AJS, and he's gonna be fighting against another Viking, or rather Han. Sorry, I was just looking at the architecture, which is of course the same, but he's gonna be facing against the Viking, and the Viking 4 BS Black Forest is gonna be in the pocket then. Alright, already having 3 dogs, some first boats coming up, producing a house as well, and so far we have seen 1, 2, 3, and oh yeah, apparently already coming with a stone wall, rather than the palisade. Didn't really want to waste any kind of wood in the early game, which is not a bad idea, and it's gonna be making definitely sure that he's not gonna be assaulted all that much. But already on the left side, even though Elkwark was a bit later, was that dog there, or have I missed it? I'm kind of thinking that it wasn't there, but looking at the numbers, it might have. It really might have, because so far, curiously, here are the boats. This is exactly what I was looking for, where Exodo is having the boats. You can see he's even leading on score for Gaucho B, so we should be definitely expecting him to be basically leading the efforts on the water. But so far, Elkwark with J Squared seem to be really well, having situation well in hand, and Orange is probably gonna be on a back foot, and he's definitely gonna be needing some assistance. So far, of course, because of the late advance of Mate, the water is kinda slightly tilted towards Black Forest's advantage, but I don't exactly think it's all that decided yet. It's gonna be all about if actually Mate can supply enough pressure behind all that he did so far. Through the stronger economy is of course gonna be a bit hard for him, I'm expecting, but still yellow and red are kinda present, but red of course needs to be careful, as Elkwark is already on top of him, because we have seen that Exodo is not exactly fighting on the water all that much. You can see having a few boats here and there. Okay, that's just a fishing boats, just scouting and hiding from being destroyed. And overall, I have to say that actually Black Forest definitely do look pretty strong on the water. So is there maybe some kind of secondary strategy going on by Gauchos? So far we are looking at stonewalling basically on the left side and on the right side as well from Black Forest. So then definitely not aiming for any kind of attack. Basically some kind of early attack in the field age, definitely not happening. As already we are looking at Blacksmith, which is of course gonna be for probably Botkin arrow, I'm thinking, rather than any kind of attempt to advance into the Heroic Age or rather Castle Age. But all this at the same time, on the right, J Squared with Philip AJS are definitely having more boats than Pingui, which is not that much of a surprise to be honest, but once Red actually joins in, it could be just a whole lot different story, especially with Exodo going there as well. But maybe he could be a bit more interested in actually fighting in his home base. But looking at all this, yeah, he probably isn't. He probably isn't, because at this point Elkwark is more or less beating him on the water. And basically the only chance right now for Gauchos is exactly what they recognized. Somehow try a slight triple on the right, and hope that actually J Squared with Philip AJS are not going to be having enough boats. But it doesn't really seem all that likely. It really doesn't at this point. So this is probably going to be all about some kind of attempt to advance into Castle Age, and who advances into Castle Age faster is probably gonna be having significant advantage, because yeah, this pond is not really huge, and there are not really that many places where to hide. You can basically try to go into a branch, but yeah, yet again, it's not really that long, so you are gonna be caught up with, and once you are there, you are just having absolutely no way outside, and this is actually pretty interesting. I'm kind of questioning why he isn't kind of hugging the shoreline, because right now he's still given opportunity to basically land, for example, petards and go through, whereas if you basically hug in the shoreline, you're not gonna be having any issues with that at all. But still, they are quite well aware that the game is developing as it is developing, and maybe Gauchos will be forced into some kind of landing or, yeah, some kind of attempt like that, as blue with green are advancing forward onto teal. Or other teal. Teal is actually with them, so sorry. This is actually right now all 3 BFs at basically one spot, with some few boats on the left side, still keeping his opponent busy in there, but oh well, the numbers are not that tragic. Not that tragic. It seems that actually, yeah, right now, exactly Gaucho advancing into Castle Age. Right now, mate, this could be what they are waiting for. And might be a bit of a surprise for BFs. Let's check BFs. Philip AJs is actually not that bad, looking at 600 foot. He's gonna be advancing fairly soon. J squared behind him, and last player, that's gonna be El Quark. Well, he's definitely not advancing. So I'm kind of thinking this is definitely a valid opportunity right now for Gauchos. Once the Castle Age hits and the War Galleys are gonna be there as well, but come on, you kinda need to not take the bad fights. As of course, losing the boats here, that's not exactly what you want. Right now it's gonna be a whole lot better. Unless Blue is having something a whole lot better in store, which he probably doesn't. You can see there's a bit of fighting, trying to catch up with the yellow boats, and yellow seems to be more or less out of the water at this point, even though he's still building inside his dock, and he definitely is hoping that he can come back a bit later. Let's turn off the chat so that we are not potentially spoiled, and I need to correct. Oh no, I'm right now probably switched. God damn it, I'm switched into English keyboard, and I have absolutely no idea where English keyboard is having the exclamation mark. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to look at that a bit later. But yeah, let's just go back to the game here and see how this is gonna be developing. So salt, wow, salt 1000 wood for Pingui. Man, somebody was very intent on the Castle Age in there. So Castle Age is definitely coming up in quite good numbers. Of course, BFs are already having 2 of them coming up as well, so the red advantage is not really gonna be that long lasting. Right now though, green needs to be careful, as he doesn't really need to lose all those boats anyway, because of course if he did, his Castle Age would be kinda worthless, and of course that would be coming for Gaucho's be quite significantly. And this is exactly the problem, because this map is quite compact as far as the water goes. You can see this is basically just 2 screens of width between the shorelines of the players, and there have been significant issues where to run, as opposed to, for example, islands or even something like migration, for example. So yeah, that is the specificity of this map, called Great Lakes, version 5. Okay, so of course Castle Age is coming up, Ballistics also for the red player, so he definitely right now wants to force any kind of engagement that he can. Because of course right now this is gonna be coming for Black Forest, as they do have the numbers, they definitely do. You can see that J squared is having plenty of them, and is basically just waiting for the upgrade for all of his boats, but they are also running into very dangerous trap. Oh, this is potentially dangerous for them. Come on, you need to engage before. Yeah, exactly right about now. The war guys are gonna be a bit of a surprise, of course, but we are still gonna be a bit more waiting for J squared, because he's having a few more boats and he's the Viking, so he does have much better potential possibilities how to produce the boats here on the water battlefield, as of course Philip AJs is finally upgraded and is gonna be coming forward with the attack. And of course, once Exoro and Pingui advance as well, we're gonna be waiting for El Quark as also. So everybody is gonna be in the Castle Age, and at this point, even though Mate was the very first one for Gauchos and for the basically all players in here to advance into Castle Age, it's gonna be turning around, and Black Forest will be having the chance to somehow punish their opponents at this point. Okay, so this is gonna be apparently very important engagement, as Pingui could be already coming there. He already did have the upgrade almost ready. But looking at this is of course not gonna be all that great engagement. Now this is more or less a 2 versus 1. Right now coming for Black Forest, and looking how there's absolutely nothing happening on the left side, because of course you could have seen that Exoro, he was kinda annihilated a bit before. Well, this is gonna be resulting into 3 versus 1 with War Galleys from El Quark coming just now in about 5 seconds into the battle as well. And this might be really turning into... This is a victory on the water right now. Let's see. Yeah, that shouldn't be all that hard for Black Forest to finish. And it's gonna be time for maybe try something interesting, like for example, some kind of landing, or maybe you could just basically try some trebuchets, or rather go into Imperial Age, then trebuchets, get rid of the or other walls, and then hope to somehow transport yourself, because if you place, for example, a castle here, you're gonna be basically denying any kind of branch control to your opponent through the one water. So that is still quite a reasonable way that Gauchos could be coming back, but it's always gonna be hard, because the advantage from the water economy, because you can see all those fishes still being in there, is gonna be quite significant for BFs. So we'll be expecting that BS will be having some kind of plan to already transport themselves on the other side of the map. Otherwise, of course, we haven't seen some kind of walling like we did on the left by El Quark. So you can see Philip AJS is living a whole lot more dangerously than SLI. But he is at least scouting, having the boat in there hidden, which is from the enemy. I was thinking this is actually BS, but it's not. And already a gate. So maybe yellow could be thinking that some kind of raiding would be in order. But of course, the water is pretty much done at this point for Black Forest. So let's see if Gauchos will be able to figure out something fun for their opponents. In the meantime, you can see that Exodo is not really giving up. He's still gonna be continuing at least a bit of pressure, trying to deny the advantage of winning the water. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. And of course, gonna be slowing the opponents down for at least a bit longer. Cartography, wheelbarrow, ballistics, yeah, all the upgrades that basically the players can get. And looking at the economies, for example, Gauchos are at 51, 46 and 45, whereas BFs are 64, 51, 48. So the economies are kinda better, especially Philip AJS is quite running away, you can see. He's probably already at about 3 TCs, I would be expecting, something like that. Yeah, looking at the minimap, I would be really guessing that it's gonna be 3 TCs for him already, which is of course lending him quite a bit of booming capabilities. But yeah, apparently Gauchos are not that quick to give up on the water as I would be, or rather as I was in the commentary. And they are still producing quite plenty. That's kinda interesting. And kinda thinking halfway a surprise for Black Forest, because you can see that the situation as it was, Black Forest were more or less owning it. And if they continued producing boats at basically the same rate, they should be absolutely and totally overpowering their opponents by now. But they absolutely aren't. They absolutely aren't. And even through the stronger economies that they are having, it's not really that huge advantage, but it is there. And we all know that water is all about basically the correct numbers. And the higher numbers, basically, they are gonna be winning you the battles. Well, they are almost looking like a comeback here. They are definitely looking that way. And this is yellow, red and orange. They are right now quite significantly pushing on blue and teal. And the reason for that is actually gonna be because green kinda gave up on the water and right now he has to... he has to go back. Yeah, that could be basically the reason for the discrepancies in the game. Why he was having the stronger economy, and he's already at 79, which is by 20 better than kinda the next best of both teams. And that kinda really explains things. That was a conscious decision by BFs for Philippe AJS not to really continue with the water all that strongly, and that basically significantly backfired, and he needs to come back here. But maybe he did get at least enough advantage through the more villages and whatever, that it's gonna be really not making that much of a difference in the long run. But let's see, because Gauchos are definitely not giving up, and that is exactly what we like to see. I'm still kinda curious on the right side. You can see he has killed the scout from green that was basically patrolling here. He does have the boat. So are we gonna be seeing some kind of funny landing? That is definitely an opportunity. You can see this scout is also kinda patrolling, I'm thinking. Maybe. At least was. Yeah, he seems to be patrolling in there, making sure that it's not gonna be landed. Yet again, Gauchos are on the back foot. And basically it seems like the Black Forest are so well off at this point that they can basically afford to switch off and on the boats without any kind of huge effect on basically the end result of the game. And at this point they are kind of pushing forward, but they don't really think that they need to right now win the game right there. So I'm kind of thinking they maybe will be taking a bit of respite because Imperial Ages might be of interest. You can see not for El Quark, but let's see with the rest. Philip Ages, that's the one that I would be expecting most to want to go into Imperial Age because of the very good economy and whatever. So far doesn't seem so really. J-Squad is the last one, who is kinda getting there. You can see halfway on the wood line, or on the food line. So interesting, as it's coming in for Karin right now, Felipe JS. So the battles are still all over the place. Basically signifying that this will be really quite a fair match as far as the quality of the players goes, and that is exactly what's making for great matches. Overall, the settings are best of 5, as you can see at the top, so this is the first game. First set map on Great Lakes, then we are gonna be seeing the home maps of the teams, and if it's not gonna be ending as a 3-0 sweep, then the fourth map is gonna be Ontario, which is basically something like the Twin Paddles, if you remember from Nations Cup, the latest one from the last year. So fairly interesting map. Kinda, we could be basically saying something like an opposite of this one, more or less, as there is a water that can be used, can be helpful, and also can be kinda tricky, which is exactly what we have seen in the quarterfinals between Run Forest Run and their opponents from Clan Arc. And here we go. Apparently we're gonna be switching into Slingin, that is gonna be J squared. Felipe JS Slingin into J squared. Okay, so that's Han into Viking. That is a strange decision at this point, because looking how Felipe JS is doing quite well with the economy 105. Exodo is definitely catching up with the Mongols. You can see already at 89. He's putting his back behind all of this effort, as the water battle is still going. And it might be a bit of a surprise to Black Forest, because they could have thought just about, I don't know, maybe it's already about 10 minutes ago that they've basically won the water. But they have won more or less nothing at this point. It really looked quite bad for Gaucho B. But well, yeah. Don't underestimate the Argentinians. That is apparently a very bad idea. Both teams here are pretty much expert on water maps, so yeah, that definitely can happen, some comebacks. And all the opportunity that you're gonna be giving them, no matter how small they are gonna be using it. So Imperial Ages are coming up. It's gonna be BF and Elkvark. That is of course gonna be quite a huge boost. Let's check into Gauchos. Exodo definitely not there, and he's even housed. That's a bit unfortunate for him at this stage. Maybe could be thinking about Imperial. You can see he's kind of halfway there, so it's probably on his mind. As Pingui, oh yeah, he's gonna be definitely hitting it, and he's the Mongol, or not Mongol, come on, Viking, the other raider nation. And he will definitely be very important in, hopefully, for Gauchos staying in the game, because right now the double Imperial Age by J Squared as the Viking for Black Forest, and his teammate Elkvar as the Mongol. Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter that he's the Mongol, but double Galleons, if that's gonna happen, which it probably will, yes, it seems that it will, that is gonna be quite a significant issue. As you can see, that even Exodo is already being pushed over the water more or less fully. You can see he's having basically last, well, fully. He was having plenty of dogs here, they are destroyed, but he has in the meantime rebuilt basically in the pocket quite nicely, as he was able to help himself. And yeah, here we go. And it's gonna be a castle, of course, coming up for a mate, as he is recognizing that the situation is getting a bit difficult. Imperial Age is basically right now clicking for all the players. You can see that all three Gauchos are gonna be advancing at reasonably the same time, and I'm still looking at this, and apparently Philip AJS was trying to use a monk to get the relic, but he didn't really get too far. He really didn't. As Pingui was scouting in there, still having the boat kinda ready, and I'm really kinda worried for Black Forest that it might be their downfall, because they're not really scouting there all that well. Philip AJS is pretty much underestimating what's going to happen in there, or rather what's happening in there, and that is definitely an opportunity, pretty big one for Pingui. Drop a dock and basically transport yourself there, and you are having very significant chance how to surprise your opponent right in the middle of him. You can see even some idols in there, as he is concentrating on basically fighting on the water, as the Galleons are coming up in full strength for Black Forest, and they definitely need to hurry up, because otherwise they're gonna be just facing the ones from the opponents, and yeah, they're gonna be falling back to the castle. Not a bad idea, but at the same time it's still kinda the end. They have nowhere else to run, and there's still gonna be plenty of opportunity for Black Forest to shoot at them with a whole lot better boats. A whole lot better boats right now. Galleons versus War Galleys, this is probably gonna be significant massacre. Yeah, and maybe they could be thinking Gauchos about some more castles, like about here and there. Maybe they could, but still, this is gonna be kinda. At the same time, it's gonna be unfortunate for Gauchos, but at the same time, well played by Black Forest, because they know they have to push. as their opponents are bound to be coming into Imperial Ages as well, and they just cannot afford that at all. So Gauchos did have the plan, but unfortunately it's not gonna be working, because they just hit in the Imperial Ages too late, and it's gonna be at a time when they've basically lost all their armies. And that's gonna be quite a significant chance for Black Forest to somehow finally close the water. But then again, there's gonna be the second spot. Well, apparently stuck War Galley in the castle, in there, for the red player. Because the castles really are gonna be securing the shoreline very well. So, in the meantime, of course, at the top there is a quite strong claim by Felipe JS on trying to deal with the problem that is Pingui. As Pingu, is he finally switching? Yes, he is. He's finally switching into the bench on the right and to basically top right. And even though Felipe AGS is finally paying attention, you can see he's produced quite plenty of outposts, basically just to make sure that he's not gonna be surprised by anything. His castle is also coming up, blocking basically any kind of attempts to land him or whatever, at least from this point, and controlling the choke point and of course this part of the water. In the meantime, there's gonna be a bit of scouting by Elkvar, trying to see if his opponent is also walling, which he isn't. So maybe he could be doing what he hoped for from basically Pingui, that he could be coming for the landing from the right branch himself onto Felipe JS, but that really seems to be basically out of the question at this point, and it's gonna be up to Black Forest to land their opponents sufficiently efficiently. Of course, right now this is pretty much total domination, even though it's not really done yet. You can see that Red Mate is not giving up, together with Exodus, as still producing a few more boats, and hoping that the castles are gonna be protecting them. So it's gonna be all about getting the all-important cannon galleons a bit later. These are gonna be coming up soon, but before that, we are gonna be looking at Felipe AJS with Cavaliers. So this is definitely looking like attempt to land already. Yeah, he's gonna be trying to deal with all those docks, producing some galleons from Pingui, and then we should be expecting a transport boat even, or maybe even not, because you can see that this walling is not really all that huge by Pingui. It's not a whole lot of walls in here, just basically palisade before a stone wall, so that's gonna be fairly easy to break through by like 3 petards. One for the palisade, 2 for the stone wall, of course. And straight is gonna be starting as well for both teams. But yeah, it has to be said at this point that the way is kinda open for Black Forest to even land their opponent finally. And the castles, this is gonna be the last chance for Gauchos to stake some ground and maybe think of some surprise. But what the surprise could be, because at this point Black Forest are pretty much controlling even the branches. So probably not really all that many chances, especially with the gold right now being in range of the galleons. Apparently they could have shot that, even the skeleton is ready. But yeah, still nothing really close all that much, as those rams are gonna be soaking up quite a lot of damage, giving some opportunity to the new boats made by Mate to potentially push forward at least a bit. But oh yeah, this is probably a bit too much to handle for them, probably a bit too much. Okay, just gonna be a bit of scouting, making sure it's not gonna be surprised. Pingui coming for coinage, chemistry is coming up for Exodus, so maybe it's gonna be maybe for him. He's Mongol, so of course he can use that. He can definitely use that. So, as a Mongol, I was kind of thinking maybe Cannon Galleon could be coming up for him, but I don't think it's gonna be that useful at this point. Basically, I'm thinking that Gaucho's chance is to somehow blitz through this basically single wall and surprise their opponent that way. It definitely can happen, basically just like blitz through, drop a castle here, and your opponents are having significant issues, so that could still happen. But it will have to be really, really done fast and perfectly. And it, at this point, doesn't seem, to be honest, all that likely, especially looking at the transport boats getting ready. It's kind of weird. I would be just basically making a few petards and go through. Like, why not? Just need 3 petards and you don't even need to bother with this. This is basically just overcomplicating things by Felipe JS, I'm thinking. So, bit of a shame in there. But still, doesn't really matter, because all those paladins to be, you can see the upgrade is already coming. It's gonna be fairly easy for him to get on the other side, no matter what. And Tikarin, this is actually mod, all those upgrades and the information about the players. It's called, I don't know what, something like advanced statistics or something like that. You can find it on Woobly. If you look at that, it's gonna be something like statistics or whatever. Maybe somebody in the chat could be giving you a correct link, but it's not. And you can find it on Woobly, and it's definitely quite useful for watching not only spectator games, but also for recorded games. So here we go. Elkoak is already making through the easier way, making his past, or rather way past, all those walls through the trebuchets in small, so basically kept rams, and with all the boats being ready in there, he's not even gonna be minding any kind of losses by the castle. And yeah, he is open, and what other units he's gonna be using? He's apparently gonna be just spamming siege workshop units. He doesn't have anything else. Well, he's a Mongol, so he could be using some castles, so maybe some kind of castle drop or whatever, but yeah, apparently not. Apparently this is just gonna be basically siege rams for him. You're welcome, Tikarin. Hope you're gonna be enjoying the rest of the games, but apparently yeah, GGs are gonna be coming, and that's exactly gonna be for both the breach on the left and on the right as well. Yeah, that was exactly what we have seen through the transport boats, and it just now materialized, and not even the castles are gonna be helping keeping them on the water. As you can see, the kind of meager numbers are there. They were kind of growing, but against this armada, that's just not gonna work. But they did fight quite nicely, and they almost made it happen. So Gauchos are definitely not a team to underestimate. You just shouldn't be confused by the B there. They are still quite competent players, because basically anybody above 1800 is quite good, especially in team games. They are quite good, as they are used to each other. And well, in this game though, it didn't work out, and we're gonna be heading into their home map. Let's check into the achievements, as there is gonna be Flip AJ having the highest score. Well, he was booming the first, so it kind of figures. Otherwise, it was just basically about team play. I can't really place any kind of good player on either side. It was just a whole lot of good team play by both teams, and that's what we like to see in RTS League, as we are all about proper team play, overcoming even individual qualities. Yeah, not really all that much of a sling, just a bit of resources to help advance into Imperial Ages. That's usually what happens. And that's, I guess, gonna be it. And you can see that even Exodo did have the best boom in the end, or rather, it wasn't really the best boom, because he was kind of slower, a lot slower than their opponents. So in that case, it's not really that great boom, but he did end up with the most villages. And as a Mongol, that is a good economy, but unfortunately just couldn't really make anything happen with it. It was just a bit too late. So, GG.